And also, when I approached stand-up, my mission statement was to try and be as funny as you are in the pub. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I didn't want it to be too, tricksy, or I played a slight persona, because I always do that anyway. I do that. We do that here, So
Yeah.
it was saying the wrong thing for comic effect, or being naughty, or trying to get people to laugh at things they didn't know they could. And I've always doubted taboo for that reason, because I think it's more exciting.
Sure.
You want to take the audience to a place it hasn't been before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and get them to laugh at things they didn't think they would enjoy.
Exactly, and this show is all about that. It's all about, there are no bad subjects for jokes. It depends what the joke is. We've talked about this a lot. And I talk about the most taboo subjects, and I discuss them, and then give an example of the joke. And by the end, they're cracking up, and they're knowing they get it. They sort of get, oh yeah. If you start off with a joke in that subject, it's, oh, why has he done that? Because they don't know where you're coming from. And that's the other thing about this tour. People know me now, so they know what I'm doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
absolutely.
a friend, like a mate knows you don't mean it. These 5,000 strangers every night, no, I don't mean it.
Right.
Do you know? So
They know what they're in for. They know what
they
to
know what they're in
expect.
for, and they love it. And it's almost like they're going, oh, he's always done this, but I don't think we quite got it before.
Right. We can't get. You're one of the few A-list celebrities. I'm going to say A-list celebrities who doesn't back off when you're criticized for a joke, which I love.
Yeah.
You never back off when you're joking about something and people are like, I don't like that. You basically tell them, all right, well, then don't follow me. You don't have to like it. Or if they're insulting, you're insulted. Like, you handle it really well.
Well, I think that's because I can justify it. I'm not one of these. I'm not one of these comedians who goes, "Oh, it was just a joke," because I don't really do that. I think it has to stand up on its own, comedic legs. And I talk about this, that, offence is often caused when people mistake the subject of a joke with the target. They don't look at the joke. They've been told this ridiculous dogma that some subjects shouldn't be joked about, which is the nonsense. And I get asked, is there anything you won't joke about? And I think, well, you're a journalist. Is there anything you won't write about?
Right.
It depends what you write. And it's funny, because whenever I've done a joke about a really contentious subject, or, and it's discussed on the radio the next day, I'm going, but you're talking about it.
Yeah.
You're talking about it, because they assume I'm coming it from the wrong direction.
Well,
They assume I'm punching down, and they assume I'm making fun of whatever the victim is in this joke,
Right.
which isn't true. Because a joke about something doesn't have to be pro or anti. It can be either. It can be neither. It can punch nowhere. It can be a pun.
Right.
It doesn't. You have to take every single joke on its merit.
And I recently got, and again, you can't, I've talked about this on the show before, but I was recently on Twitter, I did a Caitlyn Jenner joke, which wasn't even nasty, and I was accused by a bunch of people of being transphobic.
Right. This is at least 15 minutes in my new. This is 15 minutes in my new stand-up about...
And not even about that. I talk about it in my special. I got accused of being transphobic, and it was like, wow, you really have no idea who you're talking about, do you?
Well, exactly. I mean, they picked on the wrong person there. But I did a joke at the Golden Globes, and they were saying it was transphobic. And I said, why? And they said it was about a trans person. I said, well, that's like saying a joke about Bill Cosby is racist.
Right.
It depends what the joke is. It wasn't transphobic at all. The joke I told at the Golden Globes, I came out and I said, all the actors are looking at me all nervously, brilliant. And I said, relax, I'm going to be nice tonight. I've changed. Not as much as Bruce Jenner.
That's
obviously.
funny.
And I go, now Caitlyn Jenner, and what a year she's had, became a role model for trans people everywhere, bravely breaking down barriers and destroying stereotypes. She didn't do a lot for women drivers. So the subject of that joke is clearly stereotypes.
And by the way, like, the thing that people should, even if they're going to take umbrage with something, it should be like, wait a minute, wasn't that a thing? Somebody died in that car accident that he's referencing.
Yeah.
But nobody even picks up on that.
No, I discuss it. I say, let's not forget the target of the joke is a celebrity killing someone in their car.
Yeah. And they also said you dead named, Travis reminded me that you dead named just
That's it.
because you
I
said
talk about
Bruce.
that as well. Dead naming, which is ever saying that her old name and that she used to be a man. Yeah. And then I say, but she was. And then I do the thing about she was in the Olympic Games, and I act out, and so and I say, and I was second. My second crime was. Saying that he'd changed, because they say, people, that she hasn't changed, that she's always identified as a woman, and so that, she had gender realignment, and I discuss it in the live. I discuss all the criticisms of me, and then I say my piece because I think it can be funny to deconstruct, particularly when you're the butt of the joke or you're, and so I do. I always try and keep it fair. I don't ever do a sleight of hand where I say something that's a lie or to make myself look better in a joke.
Right.
I think that's really important. I think that, and then once you've done your best and you've explained it well, people are still going to make their own mind. They don't have to like it. They don't even have to get it. But someone not getting your joke isn't your problem. It's theirs.
Right. They always say, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
They always say, like, well, you should tell a joke that your joke should be better. And say, why is there never any responsibility on the idiot with ears that took it wrong?
Brilliant.
Why is it always my
That's
fault?
brilliant. That's brilliant. Why isn't it your responsibility to get the fucking joke?
Yeah.
That's a great. And the other thing I get is whenever, like in the press, a joke of mine is discussed as being offensive, I don't mind that at all. But when they get the fucking joke wrong, that drives me mad. I go, well, no, that's not the fucking joke I said. That isn't a good joke. A joke should be perfect. Every word matters. It's like a cryptic crossword clue. Every word matters. It's a little piece of poetry, right? So if you get one of those things wrong, you can fuck the whole joke.
So instead you have a news anchor paraphrasing, going, well, what he was pretty much saying was, and you're like, no,
Yeah.
no.
Well, I did a joke years ago. I say I hate drink driving. I think it's terrible. I grew up when it wasn't a stigma. Now it's terrible. And by the way, I don't even drive. So this joke's everyone knows. I say I did it once. I took the car out and I was drunk one Christmas. But I learnt my lesson because I nearly killed an old lady. And then I go, in the end, I didn't kill her. In the end, I just raped her. So the joke there is clearly the magic act with nearly killed.
It's misdirection.
So they think I swerved and nearly killed her. But what I actually meant were I attacked her so much that she nearly died from horrendous, and it turns out worse, right?
Yeah.
Much worse.
So they're discussing that joke as terrible, right? So in the paper, they tell the joke as this. I went out and I nearly killed an old lady. In the end, I didn't kill her. I just raped her. So they don't tell anything about the drink driving bit.
The whole setup is gone.
So they just think, well, he's a maniac. He said what? He went out and nearly killed an old lady but just raped her? Well, that's
not
mental.
even a joke.
That's not even a fucking joke. I know, exactly.
He's just confessing to crimes on stage.
Yeah.
Arrest him.
Yeah.
That really made me laugh. That was really fucking
It's
funny.
clever. It's and I say everything matters. And live, I even do the mime of the steering wheel, and I nearly killed an old lady, and so that's planted firmly in their head. And then the surprise at the end,
It's the ultimate misdirect, and I hate to break it down like that, but that's really what. Sometimes it's a misdirection where I didn't even do this, and then what you've done is more barbaric or worse, and that's what the joke isn't about a rape. It's about doing something even worse, where you're trying to admonish yourself. I didn't do anything wrong, and then you've done something worse.
Well, that's exactly. And also, we've discussed this before. When people say, "Oh, you think rape's funny," they mean jokes about rape, but they've done that little sleight of hand on purpose to make you back yourself into a corner. Like, do you think rape's funny? The answer's no. Of
course not.
No one finds fucking rape funny. And I do this live as well. I say, not even rapists find rape funny. There's been never a case of someone giving evidence going, it was dark, he was wearing a ski mask, and he was giggling. So, but they try and. The answer is, again, it depends on the joke. I really break it down. It's so much fun. It's such a great platform to be able to put your side forward and discuss humour in a funny way. And so you're taking them along with you all the way. You're explaining. They're hearing every word from your side, and then it takes a long time to explain what humour is to someone or freedom of speech, or it's.
We've talked about it on the show. It's crazy that we've gotten to a point where you have to show how the trick is done. Like, as a comedian, you have to pull the curtain back. There can't be any more fourth wall. Like, you have to take them behind the scenes and say, "This is what I did. This is my intention. This is why I put this here." Like, you shouldn't have to.
Well, no, you shouldn't have to. But this is the reason is the more terrible and emotive the subject, the harder it is to get over the hump about a joke about it.
Right.
Yeah.
We can joke about, people joke about murder and people get it. They go, murder, which is horrendous. It's murder, but they can't take that personally because they haven't personally been murdered. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you do something that touches someone or a group of people, and it's it's very, very emotive. It's hard for them to get over that. The number of times people have seen my stand-up and I've had one complaint, I did the first time I played Madison Square Garden. I got a complaint from a Jewish society saying we loved the show, we loved all the we weren't we were. However, unhappy about a routine about Anne Frank, and they tell me it's like I said, but you got the jokes about famine and cancer and AIDS,
right.
and you got those. I said I'm doing the same thing with her as I did with those things. I'm saying the wrong thing, and they went, "Oh yes, yes, okay, we understand it." And sometimes you do need that, and I don't begrudge people because they're not attuned to. We think about these things every day. A 30-second joke, we've probably put 3 hours work into it. Do you know what I mean? Or thought about it, or introspected, or so. We are presenting them with a finished item, but that's the tip of the iceberg. And so sometimes they do have to get over there. It's hard to, by definition, to see your own blind spot, because everyone's got their thing they don't want to joke about. People say things, are you ever offended by things? I go, I'm offended every day. I'm offended by loads of things. I'm not immune to being offended.
You just don't want a penalty imposed.
Well,
if you're
exactly,
offended.
yeah.
You avoid the things you're offended by.
Yeah, that's the other thing about today. People think that they have the right, because they don't want to hear something bad, that it's their right to shut you up, as opposed to it's their right not to listen. And that's the confusion as well.
I think going back to your point that you originally made about Ricky being one of the only people on his level to stand up for himself, right? To not apologize for everything,
not be cowed by it,
and to stick by what you say. Do you think that that's partly, or I'd say fully, because you're aware of your ability to create, meaning you're not really beholden to anything?
Well,
because you can create your own material.
No, it's not that I think I'm bulletproof or I don't care or they can't do anything about it. Although all those things are true. No. If I'm not breaking the law and they're not coming to my house, who cares? It's virtual,
right.
you know. It's not that. It's that I'm confident in that I've done right. I don't think I've done a really bad thing and I can get away with it. Fuck you. I think no, I've done a right thing here. I can stand. I justify every one of my jokes as an okay thing to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying, because that doesn't make sense. I can't say, yeah, I do bad things, but so what? I wouldn't do them if I thought they were bad things. So I'm disagreeing with them that what I've done is a bad thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And I try and get across to people that jokes about a bad thing isn't the same as the actual bad thing. It's not even condoning the bad thing. It could be anti the bad thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have satire and irony. So
you do see so many people, though, and I think that's what you're talking about, Jim, who will, even though you can tell they don't believe it, go, at first this wasn't my intention, but I saw it from your perspective, and the apologies come out, and they're just trying to get the bad story away.
Yeah, well, so I think sometimes it depends. Some people are just trolls. Some people just want to ruin your day. They get in the way. They jump in the way of a bullet and say, "Why are you shooting at me?"
Yeah,
and
people love to be martyrs.
Oh, they think everything's personal. I don't even know they're following me. I don't know these people. I'm just tweeting, and they take it personally. They go, "Why are you tweeting?" I'm not tweeting you. You've come to my house, knocked on my door, and said, "Why are you talking to me?" Well, I'm not. So again, people, and it's hard because people think that the world revolves around them.